is the final weekend of EuroNASCAR 2, the final weekend of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Hello and welcome to Grobnik in Croatia, the Automotodrom Grobnik, a brilliant place to hold our season finale for this year's NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. We've already seen some fabulous racing here today in the EuroNASCAR Pro, a great scrap between Gianmarco Colli and Alon Day, in which the latter put one hand on the championship in his quest to become a four-time champion, Alon Day. However, in EuroNASCAR 2, it's a battle between two rookies at the sharp end of the order. It's AutoNASCAR, who looks like the favourite in the championship right now, but Liam Hasemans is just 13 points back. It's 306 points for AutoNASCAR. So anything is still possible among those top two in the championship coming into this season finale. You see there the car of Leonardo Colavita, the 47 machine. But Martin Dubek also still technically within championship range, as are a few others. Dubek, of course, last year's champion. He's 50 points back from the head of the order. Ulis Del So and Vladimir Siortzis within 60 points or so as well. Of course, with 80 points available for a race win and 70 points available for second, it then descends in two, so 68 for third, 66 for fourth, and so on. It would take quite a major drama for NASCAR or Hasemans to miss out on the championship. However, we have seen the two of them get physical a few times this year, so it's not out of the realms of possibility, it must be said. In the Legends Trophy points, it's Melvin de Groot at the top. He's quite comfortably at the top, and I believe second in the class is still Yevgen Sokolovsky, who's not here this weekend. Luli Del Castello with a fairly good grasp over the Lady Trophy points as well, and NASCAR and Hasemans also fighting for the rookie class honours. So a lot at stake in this race, and AutoNASCAR will be looking to secure a sixth race win of the season here today. He will do so, though, from a little further back in the order than he would have liked. He didn't get the qualifying lap together. I'll tell you who did get the qualifying lap together, Vladimir Siortzis. He had an absolutely fabulous run in qualifying this morning. He is our pole sitter, and he will be alongside Liam Hasemans on the front row. AutoNASCAR in the 88 car. He starts on row 2, but he said he was some way off the pace. He didn't feel like he was quick this morning. Not only that, but he felt the tyre pressures and other setup things needed to be adjusted. So I'm sure they've been tinkering away with the 88 car, and we'll see whether it pays dividends now. The 48 car, incidentally, we mentioned Yevgen Sokolovsky. Sokolovsky is not here. And unfortunately, I don't think the car will be out again, certainly not today, and apparently, from what we understand, not at all for the rest of the weekend. The 48 car was to be taken over by Yevgen Sokolovsky's teammates from the ADAC GT4 Germany Championship, Hugo Sasser and Mike David Ortmann, the champions of ADAC GT4 Germany this year. They were to make a guest appearance as a non-point scoring entity this weekend in the 48 car. Two drivers with a great resume in GT racing. We're very much looking forward to welcoming them onto the NASCAR grid for the first time. Unfortunately, in qualifying earlier today, the EuroNASCAR 2 session, Hugo Sasser hit the tyres and hit the wall quite hard. He's A-OK, but unfortunately the car is no longer able to race, and we understand that it's not a repairable job here at the circuit. It sounds as if the 48 car is no more for this weekend, which is a massive shame, but we still have a very strong grid of machinery taking to the circuit now, and of course a championship battle in the offing that a lot of people are excited about, and it's a championship battle at a facility that is ideal for EuroNASCAR competition. You can see it there at turn 2. It's a very, very banked corner. There's a lot of positive camber for the drivers to lean into here at the Automotodrom Grobnik. I believe if we can take a look, here we are at the circuit in greater detail. You've got 17 corners to play with, a huge run from the turn 15-16 complex all the way down to turns 1 and 2, and also a nice back straight as well, coming out of, I believe, turn 13. So there are 2 opportunities to do some slipstreaming and some drafting, and also a good few overtaking opportunities as well. Lots of places where you can go side by side, and an equal share of places where you can defend sternly should that be what's required of you. Turn 5 is known as Rijeka to the locals, and that's because it faces the direction of the city of Rijeka. Meanwhile, Zagreb corner, that's kind of turn 15, 16, that of course faces Zagreb. So a little bit of geographic nomenclature around the circuit, and it's great to be here once again in Croatia, a circuit that has steadily become a favourite of a great many drivers in the EuroNASCAR paddock. Still a regular host of the TCR Eastern Europe and the Sidecar World Championship, as well as EuroNASCAR. Some significant investment went into the circuit a few years back, and they're looking to attract more and more major events as the years roll on. Certainly would be good to see a few European championships diversify their calendars and take it to Croatia. That would be absolutely brilliant to see. Another thing that's fabulous to see is a bit of a throwback to a 1980s IMSA grid, or perhaps an Indy 500, or indeed a NASCAR race, of course, in the form of our safety car for this weekend, or at least our pace car for the formation lap. That is the fabulous Chevrolet Corvette C3 that we just saw parked at the front of the grid. But the main attraction, the main source towards the eyeballs is these cars, the EuroNASCAR machines, the stock cars, 400 horsepower beasts. And I understand we are going to hear from Vladimir Siortsis shortly, and we know that because Andre Viegold is just negotiating an interview with him at the moment. Siortsis, we heard from him earlier on, he still thinks he's in the championship hunt. He's 56 points back, 5th in the standings, 6 points back from Martin Dubek, but away back from the championship top 2. Let's see, Andre, whether he's still as confident as he was this morning.
Negotiating, this is a very, very good point. Of course, I always ask if the drivers are ready for an interview, because of course they have to focus before a race. Thank you so much for joining us live on YouTube. Vladimir Siortsis, pole position today. You had some time to let it sink in. Any special plans for this race?
Just to keep what we did until now, you know, it's very important. That's all.
Easy. So have good luck and fun.
Times, Vladimir Siortsis has comfortably been the quickest driver in EuroNASCAR 2. This morning, he was the quickest driver in any category here at Grobnik. He was quicker in qualifying than Alan Day was in Superpole. So clearly, Vladimir Siortsis still carrying the kind of pace we saw from him at the start of the year in Valencia. He has had a rough run of form at times this year, and I think the stats tell the story on that. He's had 5 pole positions, but just 1 victory in this season. So he's consistently the quickest driver, but things seem to turn against the Cypriot when the racing is in full swing. He's got 14 laps to hold off the incoming charges from behind in this one. You see that Liam Hazeman's on the front row. Liam will be trying to challenge for the lead into the first corner. He would love, really, he needs to claim a race win today to keep himself highly competitive in the championship. There are 80 points on the table for a race win and 70 for second place. So if he can close 10 points or more over Alberto Nasca, that would be critical. But for now, to Andre with Liam.
Liam, Alberto Nasca is right behind me at the moment in the second row. It's all about keeping him behind, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, you know, I mean, it has been a hell of a season so far. I mean, yeah, you know, first race car year, so yeah. I mean, the goal is actually really to win, because then it's only making really the big difference. So yeah, we're gonna try and everything to take this win, and then yeah, try to win the championship this weekend.
Alan Day told me he tries to erase all the thoughts about the championship, stay in the tunnel, stay clean in his mind. What about you? How do you handle the emotions?
You know, actually, I don't put too much pressure on myself, you know. I mean, even when people, you know, you can feel a bit the pressure, you know, from your family or stuff. But no, you know, first of all, I mean, this is such a great series. You just have to really enjoy it first, you know. I mean, just being able to drive this car around the track is already, that's, let's say, the big motivation, you know. So yeah, just try to keep focused on the race and just be calm, be cool, do my thing, and yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Feel success, have fun, and see you maybe later.
Yes, super, thanks.
Always great to hear from Liam Hazeemans, and the reason the race victory would be so coveted for him is the scoring system here in EuroNASCAR, especially here on Title Decider weekend where the points are doubled. If he takes the race win, he gets 80 points. If he's second, he gets 70 points, as you can see on this graphic here. So 70 points for second place, 68 points for third, and it continues to descend by 2 with every position thereafter. So if he can get first place and therefore score a minimum of 10 points more than AutoNASCAR, whom he is just 13 points behind in the championship, that would do him all the favours in the world. Speaking of AutoNASCAR, let's hear from him now.
Thank you so much, Adam. AutoNASCAR, I talked to some championship contenders, how they handle the emotions. Some of them keep them inside, some try to erase them. You express them, I know that, but how do you handle the pressure you have now before the final for 2 races of the season?
It's a complicated question to answer. The thing is that there is no way. I mean, it's something unpredictable, so you have to adapt to it and to live with it. So that's what I do. I live with it. I see how it goes, and I always think about what Michael Jordan once said. When they asked him about the pressure, he said, "Why should I be anxious about a shot? About, you know, I don't know how to say in Italian. Why should I be anxious about a ball that I didn't shoot yet?" Okay, so that's the idea. You know, telling it and doing it, are 2 different things, but that's what I do. I just see how it goes. You know, I know that I'm fast. I know that I'm good. I was unlucky, so I hope that for one day the luck is on my side.
All right. Thank you so much. Enjoy the race, and maybe we see each other later.
Sure. Bye.
There's AutoNASCAR then. I don't know if he's been that unlucky this year. He's had 5 wins, 9 top 5s this year. He did, however, have a rough run of it at Zolder last time out. He also didn't have the best qualifying. He felt unsatisfied with the pace of the car coming out of qualifying today. You may have heard that in the post-qualifying interviews earlier on. So certainly, I think NASCAR feels like he has some work to do. Speaking of people with work to do, last year's EuroNASCAR 2 champion, Martin Dubek.
Yes, I'm here with the reigning champion, Martin Dubek. What is your plan to end the season on a high note? What are your goals for today?
The plan is catch the maximum points, but I will start from P4. I couldn't find a good setup here. I hope that now finally we found it. In first race in Elite Pro I had some technical issue, but I hope that everything now it will be good. So I will try to catch maximum points that I can, and we will see what happens.
All right, thank you so much. Good luck.
There you go, Martin Dubek, who is dueling his campaign. He's in EuroNASCAR Pro as well, but in EuroNASCAR 2 he was last year's champion, and unfortunately it looks like he's not going to get the chance to defend that title. Certainly the maths is against him right now, but we'll see whether or not he can pull something out of the bag. We've spoken about NASCAR and Hazeemans. They're 13 points apart. They're the favourites, but before we talk about that, let's go back down to Andre.
Team Blakemole and Melvin de Groot, one of the contenders for the Legend Trophy. Decent starting position, right?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting race because there are 2 competitors right behind me. My qualification this morning was not so good. I have a feeling that I could go a bit faster, so I'm going to try to focus to the front and not to the competitors in the rear. It's going to be a tough race. It's quite hot outside. Also, the sun is going down, so you can see it already. It's in my eyes. So, yeah, let's see what it brings. Let's hope to move forward.
Thank you so much. Thank you well. And I'll put back the umbrella. I'm now an umbrella guy too.
There you go, Andre Viegold, a man of numerous talents. He can belt out a good Lion King song. If you ask him to, he can hold an umbrella and he can hold a microphone too. If only I could do half of that. 2 minutes before we get the countdown command, so we will hear the famous words to get the engines fired up in just a couple of minutes' time. We'll just hold off until the formation lap to talk about a bit of the title history to this point in the season. I don't know if we are due any more interviews, of course, at this point. I think, we do have one more interview. Very well done and very well timed. Over to you.
Yes, very quickly. Leonardo Colavita, what are your plans for today?
I mean, just kind of see what's going on in front of me and try to avoid if there's any messes and just move forward slowly. Qualifying wasn't perfect. There were some mistakes in there, so we can definitely move forward.
Do you like the track?
Oh, the track's a lot of fun. Really hard to race in, but the like lapping and just going fast on it is really fun.
Thank you so much. Good luck and have fun. And we have to run now for the command.
Yes, you do. Leonardo Colavita, he sounds a confident man, doesn't he? I think he's got some optimism back there on the 4th row of the grid, and we'll see how he performs. The start command will be underway in just a minute or two then. Just under 1 minute until the start command is due to take place. There's our sturdy cameraman taking a run down the circuit to make sure he catches the command. And of course, I mentioned NASCAR and Hasemans. Those two have come together a couple of times this year on track. You may remember at Zolder there was a little bit of fender on fender. Just as Alberto Nascar's car started to struggle with what turned out to be a gearbox issue. So NASCAR and Hasemans, they are prone to getting the elbows out on each other. They're both there at the sharp end, and now there's a championship at play. Start command time.
It is my pleasure to present you Grand Marshal with the same famous sentence from Grobnik Circuit, Mr. Robert Djikovic.
Drivers, start your engines!
There you go. Drivers, start your engines, and they are very obedient. They switch the engines on. The thunder of the circuit is plain for all to hear, and Grand Marshal Robert Djikovic presenting from Grobnik Circuit, presenting that iconic phrase, drivers, start your engines. So great to see not just representatives from NASCAR from America, but also representatives from the circuit getting actively involved in this, the season finale weekend. Of course, all being sane, and sometimes racing is not sane, but all being sane, the championship shouldn't be decided today. However, certainly someone can get one hand on the championship with today's results. With 16 points now clear in the EuroNASCAR Pro Championship, Alan Day certainly has at least a few fingers on the EuroNASCAR Pro title, a 4th title in the offing for him. But in this category, in EuroNASCAR 2, it's all about 2 rookies in the form of Alberto Nascar and Liam Hasemans, both of whom have taken the world of EuroNASCAR by storm. And it's going to be very compelling to see who comes out on top in this one. NASCAR, for now, has a 13-point lead. Hasemans, as he alluded to himself, really needs to claim a win today in order to bring himself properly back into the immediate vicinity of Alberto Nascar in the championship classification. Of course, if Nascar has a bad race, if he makes an error, if he falls down the order, then Hasemans can take it a little bit easier. But you can tell, just based on what Hasemans said there, he didn't go out and say it explicitly, but it's clear that from second on the grid, he's got eyes for victory only. But he's got Vladimiros Tsiotsis to challenge for that. Tsiotsis is, as we've mentioned, arguably the quickest driver, not just in EuroNASCAR 2, but at times in the whole paddock. He's had 5 pole positions in this season, and we'll see whether he can capitalise on this one to claim his 2nd win of the year. We wait with bated breath to see whether he can do that. So it is a Cypriot racer alongside a Flying Dutchman on the front row of the grid here in Grobnik, Croatia. The Automotodrom Grobnik, a perfect facility for EuroNASCAR competition. So many sweeping corners, challenging corners, and you see there they rather police the track limits here quite explicitly with tyre bundles that will go flying and cause your car a bit of damage if you choose to overstep the mark a bit too far. We've seen a few people overstep the mark already today. Hugo Sasser in qualifying in the 48 car, the ADAC GT4 Germany champion, crowned last week, unfortunately not taking the start of this EuroNASCAR 2 race. As I mentioned towards the top of the broadcast, the positive camber around these corners, the fact that the circuit dips away towards the apex means that people can carry a lot more speed around some of these turns, and it does mean it is a faster track than it maybe looks on paper, and certainly there are a couple of high-speed sections followed by braking zones where overtaking is very possible. Slipstreaming can also be to drivers' favour around here. You heard it in qualifying earlier today. Liam Hazeman says, well, you know what, thanks AutoNASCAR for the slipstream that he got on his fastest qualifying lap this morning in quali. And I'm not sure NASCAR intended to help Hazemans. In fact, he was pretty explicit about the fact he didn't want to help Hazemans. However, he couldn't shake the young Dutchman. Will he be able to shake the young Dutchman off of him in the championship contendership? Certainly, it's mathematically practically impossible for NASCAR to officially sew up the championship today, but he can massively solidify his grasp on the title if he can beat Liam Hazemans, and if he can claim a win while beating Liam Hazemans, he suddenly finds himself in a very comfortable position heading into Sunday. But that is all just words, it's all just maths. Right now, it's time to go racing, and we are about to do so. It is on the pole position, Vladimiros Siortsis. Alongside him, Liam Hazemans, the young Dutch charger. And then on row 2, you have AutoNASCAR. Can he have a good start? What about Martin Dubek alongside him? We are about to go racing. We are racing. Green flag and 2x2 rolling start. They're underway, and it's a nose ahead for Liam Hazemans. It's the lead for Liam Hazemans, or is it? Because Vladimiros Siortsis comes back at him and retakes the lead. Briefly a nose ahead was Liam Hazemans, but and he is still ahead. I think there might have been a bit of contact just off camera there between Hazemans and Siortsis, because Siortsis looked like he was comfortably ahead, and then Liam Hazemans ended up back in the lead. AutoNASCAR has moved up into second place as well. Then it is Siortsis. Then in fourth place, I believe, is Dubek. Dubek, as the rest of the field streams through turn 5, the Rijeka bend for the first time. And there you see confirmation of the fact that Hazemans is leading the way. So as it stands, if the race was to finish right now on lap 1 of 14, Hazemans would be within 3 points of the championship lead of AutoNASCAR going into the season finale. So if things were to end right now, it would be swimming for Liam Hazemans. However, NASCAR has had great race pace all year long. 2 pole positions, 5 wins so far this year. So you know that AutoNASCAR is a force to be reckoned with in a race. And look at that, late on the brakes, the Cal racing car giving the Italian all sorts of confidence. He tries to go around the outside, however, Liam Hazemans is having none of it. And now Vladimiros Siortsis is challenging the Italian once more. Off in the back of shot there, I think was Paul Dufresne potentially in the 33 car, someone off circuit towards the back of shot. But it is Liam Hazemans that leads the way, first time across the line. See there the ebbing and flowing between our fast drivers here. Some corners it looks as though NASCAR is challenging Hazemans. Then Siortsis suddenly comes in strong and tries to challenge NASCAR a couple of turns later. It's a yo-yo effect at this stage of the race. I do believe it was the 33 car of Dufresne that had a slight moment in the back of shot. Nonetheless, Hazemans and NASCAR running line astern right now. It's a similar situation to what we had in the EuroNASCAR Pro race earlier. The 2 biggest contenders in the championship are having a duel at the head of the order. It's Hazeman's leading the way from NASCAR, though. And, of course, in the earlier race, it was Alan Day who extended his points lead. As it stands, the challenger, Liam Hazeman, is about to close in the points advantage on Alberto NASCAR. He merely has to survive 12 laps at the head of the order. That is so much easier said than done. You see there the 16 car of Claudio Remeggio Capelli. Yes, he is in the 16 car. He's been sharing the 18 for much of the year in EuroNASCAR 2. But he is in the 16 this weekend. And just to say, it was Neo Lambert that had the off in the 40 car. So it wasn't the 33, it was the 40, the sister Speedhouse entry that had a moment there. We mentioned there was a car off on the first lap. And so the top two turn towards Rijeka once again. Turn 5 awaits them now. This is the Rijeka bend. Hazeman's just looks like he's in control of it right now, doesn't he? He's taking a commanding line, centre of the track. Nowhere for NASCAR to challenge, and not letting up any apex speed, corner on corner. Of course, Hazeman's, with the slightest error, could open up the door to NASCAR, especially at some of these high-speed sections. After this sequence of S-bends, it opens up to a nice run towards the Zagreb corner, turn 14-15, and that is a golden opportunity if a driver makes an error and compromises his run out of the corner down this long straight section. It could be an opportunity. And there is NASCAR. A reminder, as he looks to the inside, NASCAR probably, almost certainly, cannot win the championship here today. He can, however, heighten his chances. He does desperately need to get past Liam Hazeman, though. He's currently in second place. That would drop him 10 points back in the championship hunt. He would still be in the lead, but he'd be just 3 points clear of Liam Hazeman. And going into the season finale, that's anything but comfortable. There's Christian Malcharek returning to the 24 car. He was racing, if memory serves me correctly, the 11 car last time out at Zolder. Of course, the 24 car was reserved solely for Anthony Kumpen, making his return to the Pro class. See there, number 3, Ulysse Delceau, former champion in EuroNASCAR 2. He's running in 10th place right now behind Malcharek in 9th. And on this lap, it looks as though NASCAR is under more and more pressure from Siortsis. We mentioned this about Siortsis earlier on. 1 win, 5 pole positions. That's not a record he'll be in love with. So I'm sure he's looking to right some wrongs here at Grobnik. And the first step to doing that is getting past Alberto NASCAR. And we heard it from him earlier on. Vladimiros Siortsis is very much of the opinion that he could still win this championship. He's just got to have some things go his way and go against others. And certainly, if he can squeeze his way past the top 2, that would be very much sending things in his direction. So the top 5 in pretty much one queue at the moment. Dubek is behind them in 4th place. And then you've got Melvin de Groot as well. There goes the top 5. Hazeman's, once again, you would not believe that Liam Hazeman's was in his first season of car racing, would you? He's looked composed and confident at all times. Meanwhile, Siortsis hunting down Alberto NASCAR, and certainly it looks like NASCAR is the hunted rather than the hunter right now, doesn't it? Siortsis has good pace. We know he has good pace. He was the quickest driver all morning in qualifying today across both of the EuroNASCAR classes. However, race pace and qualifying pace are often 2 different things. And I think Vladimiros Siortsis this season has been a case study in that. That said, a lot of the misfortune that's hampered his campaign to this point of the year, I'd say, isn't really his fault. Let's see if he can take advantage of the slipstream then as they run along the main straight and past their spotters onto lap 6 of the race. Lap 6 of 14, we're almost half distance here, and CEST is making life ever harder for AutoNASCAR. Liam Hazeman's just clear of them. And for now, he's comfortable as he could be in this situation. He sounded relaxed earlier on in the pre-race interview with Andre Viegold, but once you're in the hot seat, quite literally the hot seat here on this autumn's day in Grobnik, once you're in that hot seat, perhaps things change a little bit. You saw there that CEST had a look to the inside of AutoNASCAR, but he didn't get the move done. He wasn't quite close enough. If he had tried to barrel up the inside, I fear things would have ended quite badly. It's a good job that CEST had the instinct and the sense there to back out of it. Thomas Pontonen has made up a position. He's got himself past Leonardo Colavita a couple of laps ago. I think we saw that just in the back of shots at turn 15 while we're focusing on the leaders. But he has moved himself up to 7th place in the 23 car. So Leonardo Colavita, we heard that he was thinking he could move up the order. Unfortunately, at the moment, he's going the other way. A reminder, of course, that the grid for tomorrow's race is set by the fastest laps today. At the moment, Hazeman's would be our pole sitter. Meanwhile, look at CEST. He's got a great run down the main straight. I'm not sure he's going to be close enough into turns 1 and 2, but he might have a go. He's onto the brakes, and I'd say thankfully he didn't try it there, because I think he was a scratch too far back, but at one point there it looked like he had the momentum. It's Hazeman's from NASCAR, from CEST in our top 3. Martin Dubek keeping a watching brief from P4. That's where he started this race. Melvin de Groot is in 5th. Claudio Remeggio Capelli in 6th. Then it's Pontonen, Colavita, Maltrek and Ulis Del So, our top 10. He's ahead of Patrick Schober in 11th and Gil Linster rounding out the top dozen right now. The leader in the Lady Trophy race, I believe, is still Luli Del Castello. Yes, she's there in 17th place right now, but Alina Leubnegger is making up positions quite handily up the order. She's way down on the... we're just getting a replay here from just over a lap ago between NASCAR and CEST. It did get quite close there, didn't it? Over at Rijeka Bend on lap 6. We're now on to lap 7. Just to finish up there, Leubnegger a little bit slower on the track right now than Del Castello, but she's only got Michael Blakemolen between herself and Luli Del Castello in the 54 car. So Alina Leubnegger still potentially in contention within the Lady Trophy ranks. That's 18th and 20th place respectively for the two of them. You see there the field spread already. Some side-by-side action as Ulis Del So is trying to find a way around Leonardo Colavita. And Claudio Remeggio Capelli locking up in front of the 23 of Pontonen. He drifts it wide out of turn 2 and I think just about holds on. Yes, he does. But Colavita falling through the order. He's dropped to 9th place. Maltrek has gotten past him and he's just about held off Ulis Del So. But he's the next challenger, and a tag there from Pontonen to Claudio Remeggio Capelli. Capelli just about held on there, but Pontonen in no uncertain terms saying, hello, yes, I'm here. And I think Claudio Remeggio Capelli is every bit aware of it and would rather not know about it in the form of contact at the very least. That was a bit hairy there through the Rijeka Bend. And another locker from Claudio Remeggio Capelli. Now these tyres have to last not just through qualifying, not just through this race, but also the one that takes place on Sunday, the race for tomorrow. And well, if he keeps locking it up, they're not going to last that long. Here comes Thomas Pontonen up the inside as they approach the Zagreb bends, turn 15-16. He's got a nose to the inside. Claudio Remeggio Capelli just about giving him room. Great side-by-side stuff there, and further back we've got Ulis Del So grass tracking. He just about rejoins the circuit, and it's fender bending between Capelli and Pontonen has gotten through. Christian Maltrek is now on the case of Claudio Remeggio Capelli. It's the 16 versus the 24. No Greg Biffle or Jeff Gordon in sight, though. It's Claudio Remeggio Capelli just about holding off Christian Maltrek for the time being. Leonardo Colavita also keeping a watching brief now. And meanwhile, NASCAR is still just about ahead of Vladimiros Tsiotsis, but it looks as though Tsiotsis is starting to really hound the back of NASCAR. He's been looking threatening all race long, but now it's looking more than that. It seems as though there's greater confidence and grip beneath the car of Vladimiros Tsiotsis. We've got some lap traffic up ahead as well that could be a factor here. Liam Hasemans is going to have to pick his spots carefully in the race lead. Just going past there, I believe that was the 64 car. But they are well into the lap traffic now, and this is where things get dangerous, particularly around this circuit, which is rather narrow in places. Tsiotsis, though, in the slipstream of Alberto NASCAR. He can't quite get close enough, though. NASCAR, I remind you, at the moment would still go into tomorrow's last race with a 3-point advantage in the championship if Liam Hasemans takes this win and he finishes second. If NASCAR loses the place to Vladimiros Tsiotsis, that points deficit goes down to 1 point for the season finale on Sunday. That would be a mighty title decider if that proves to be the case. Nonetheless, NASCAR, you could argue, is on the back foot right now. He's, as it stands, going to lose 10 points to Hasemans with just 13 spare. If he loses that position, he's going to lose 12 points. So Vladimiros Tsiotsis could prove to be a joker card here in this championship. Tsiotsis just cares about getting race wins, good results, and arguably just maybe moving himself up towards third in the championship, because if he beats off Martin Dubek and moves up to second place, that would maybe put him third in the championship. He's also got to consider Ulis Delso, who is all the way down in 12th place. But as it stands, if Delso finishes 12th and Dubek finishes behind Tsiotsis, that could well grant Vladimiros Tsiotsis the opportunity to fight for third in the championship tomorrow. And if he can beat Alberto NASCAR, I think that's just a bit of a nice box to tick, isn't it? Because he hasn't done that, at least for a podium result, I don't think, since the season opener at Valencia, unless I'm very much mistaken. And NASCAR there runs it wide. This could be the opportunity that Tsiotsis needs. Oh, almost quarter panel to quarter panel there. Vladimiros Tsiotsis had the door halfway open, and now Alberto NASCAR being cheered on by thousands of his fans watching us here live with the EuroNASCAR 2 coverage, are cheering on Alberto NASCAR, but NASCAR is having to defend for his life and his championship right now. We're on lap 11 of 14 here at the Automotodrom Grobnik. It's Liam Hasemans with 1.4 seconds clear of this battle for second place. Alberto NASCAR really needs every point he can get. It seems as though a race win might be out of the hands of Alberto NASCAR. Hasemans will close the deficit up by 10 points as it stands, and contact between NASCAR and Tsiotsis. A little bit of a touch at Rijeka Bend, turn 5, and now Tsiotsis means business. He seems to have more speed on the apexes of corners. Perhaps he cares less for making his tyres last than Alberto NASCAR, or perhaps the car is difficult to drive for NASCAR. We heard that in qualifying. NASCAR said, you know what, the tyre pressures, they weren't right. Something was amiss with the balance of the car. It was very difficult to drive, and to me that car does not look like plain sailing in this evening sunset either. So Vladimiros Tsiotsis up against a slightly weakened Alberto NASCAR potentially, and they're close together once again as they approach the Zagreb Bend towards the glorious mountainside that overlooks the Automotodrom Grobnik. Glory is unlikely to come to anyone before Sunday in this championship, but for Alberto NASCAR, his grasp on the title will be significantly weakened if Vladimiros Tsiotsis gets by. If NASCAR finishes third and Hasemans finishes first, we'll be down to a 1-point gap going into the title decider on Sunday morning. And while that would be grandstand viewing, it's not what NASCAR or his supporters want to see. And Tsiotsis again getting a sniff to the inside at turn 3. It's intense stuff here. We've got just under 3 laps of racing to go. This is lap 12 of the race. NASCAR again drifting wide. I don't know if that's his line. I don't know if he's meaning to do that, but it is leaving the door open for Tsiotsis. And we have seen a little bit of panel-on-panel racing before. Motorsport is meant to be non-contact, but sometimes the lines are blurred a little bit, and Vladimiros Tsiotsis again with a good run out of turn 8. He is making life so difficult for the Italian star, Alberto Nasca. He's a star on YouTube. He's got a star on the side of his car as well, and he has brought eyeballs to the EuroNASCAR 2 category this year. I know a lot of you are tuning in to watch Alberto Nasca. He is not going to secure the championship today. In fact, he's struggling to hold his grasp on the championship right now. Liam Hazeman's will shrink that gap by 10 points if he can just take this win. We're coming on to the penultimate lap of the race. So Nasca has withstood this pressure magnificently so far in this race. He's only got 2 more laps to hold off Vladimiros Tsiotsis. Now, does Tsiotsis perhaps hold back, thinking to himself, I don't want to be the person that determines this championship one way or the other? Personally, I don't think that's going to be the case. We heard Vladimiros Tsiotsis' mission statement in an interview after qualifying. He still wants wins, he still wants a championship, he wants to push. And given he's now had, I believe it was his 6th pole position this morning, as a matter of fact, and still only 1 win to his name, he wants to try and move up the order, and I think Nasca's left the door open just enough, has he? Tsiotsis to the inside as they approach turn 6, but no, he's not quite close enough. This is fabulous racing between 2 combatants who appear to be respectful of one another. Tsiotsis once again closes through the apex at turn 8. He's got a lot more mid-corner speed than Alberto Nasca, who is clearly having to fight his Cal Racing 88 car every inch of the way. This is anything but easy, anything but calm for Alberto Nasca as we approach the final lap of the race. Just a few corners before we begin that final lap, and Nasca with a critical error there. He's got onto the grass, and is this the opportunity for Vladimiros Tsiotsis? He looks to the inside, but he can't quite get it done. Alberto Nasca did a great job there of just cutting across ahead of Vladimiros Tsiotsis and making sure to stifle the run of the number 5 car. But this has been an intense motor race between the 2 of them. This battle for second has been pay-per-view viewing for free on your chosen method of watching this race. The NASCAR Whelen Euro Series once again delivering in spades here in Grobnik, Croatia. It is the final lap. Liam Hazeman's has extended his lead to 2.6 seconds over Alberto Nasca. The question is, will Nasca still be there in second place in 1 lap's time? Not if Vladimiros Tsiotsis has anything to do with it. Now, turn 5, we've seen Nasca drifting wide, lap on lap on lap here at Rijeka corner, and does it happen again? Yes, it does. Tsiotsis again takes the apex, gets close to the back of Nasca, and they just about avoid contact between the 2 of them. Tsiotsis again in the wheel tracks of Alberto Nasca. Now watch them through turn 8. Every time it seems that Tsiotsis has a lot more apex speed, and once again he does. If anything, he's having to avoid the back of Nasca, and that's hindering his progress. Just a few corners left to go between the 2 of them. It is going to be Hazeman's barring disaster that crosses the line in the lead, but Nasca again potentially on the back foot, taking a different line through the S-bend. He's got a decent run though out of the corner, but look at Tsiotsis. He's got the outside line as they approach Zagreb Bend for the final time. Nasca brave on the brakes as he was on lap number 1, trying to get around Liam Hazeman, but potentially too brave because he's drifted wide. Tsiotsis is alongside and just cutting the nose off Vladimiros Tsiotsis. Alberto Nasca holds on to second place, and Liam Hazeman takes the win at Grobnik. It's another victory in a stellar year for Liam Hazeman, and he draws himself within 3 points of Alberto Nasca's championship lead. Tsiotsis takes 3rd place, Martin Dubek in 4th, ahead of Melvin de Groot in 5th place. That's another positive step for Melvin de Groot in his campaign for the Legend Trophy. In 6th place, Thomas Pontonen finishing ahead of Claudio Remeggio Capelli. Those 2 got physical earlier on. Christian Maltrek in 8th. Neo Lambert recovering from his moment at the start of the race to take 9th. And Leonardo Colavita ultimately finishing just 10th place. Ulis Del So in 11th. Patrick Schauber in 12th. Gil Linster 13th. Paul Dufro in 14th ahead of Roberto Benedetti. Toppel in 16th in the 18 car. Luli Del Castello with another significant step towards the Lady Trophy class, taking 17th in that one. Mikael Blekemolen taking 18th. Paolo Valeri in the 8 car, 19th. Alina Leubneger eventually 20th position ahead of Ariana Casoli, and Dario Casso finishing out the order of finishing cars in 22nd place. Quintal and Gomez both failing to finish. Well, 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 what a motor race that was. It's a pendulum that seems to swing and swing. Soon, we're going to have to stop the pendulum, and at the moment, Liam Hazeman seems to be the favourite. Certainly, AutoNASCAR still has the lead. He's 3 points clear in the championship, but Hazeman has now taken 3 race wins in a row. Liam Hazeman, who Loris Hazeman, his older brother, a NASCAR champion, a EuroNASCAR champion, his brother Loris Hazeman said, you know what, I guarantee it, Liam Hazeman is going to win this championship. He's having to fight from underneath. He was 13 points back coming into this weekend. The gap has now been reduced to 3, and tomorrow is going to be a grandstand motor race. This was a fabulous last lap between AutoNASCAR and Vladimiros Tsiotsis. It was respectful driving between both of them. Tsiotsis made sure not to clobber onto the side of NASCAR. NASCAR gave Tsiotsis racing room wherever he could. It was great stuff between two drivers who clearly wanted to push to the limit, provide us a great show without causing too much drama. It was a stellar motor race, one that I'm very happy to have called for you. Liam Hazeman with the win. He did not have the fastest time of the race. That was Vladimiros Tsiotsis, the number 5 car, that got the fastest lap of anybody. So that would put him on pole position for tomorrow alongside Liam Hazeman. I believe AutoNASCAR would be on the front row per what I'm seeing here in regard to fastest lap times. Well, a lot has happened there in 14 laps. 14 laps that absolutely flew by. I certainly don't believe that we were watching racing there for 21 minutes. It felt like 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Liam Hazeman's now waiting by the podium, which unconventionally, and this did catch me out earlier, unconventionally it's across the track from the pit lane. I was aware of that at one time, and it completely slipped my mind. And we see there Andre Viegold greeting Liam Hazeman. We'll hear from him shortly, as soon as he is ready to go. But Liam Hazeman with a huge bite into AutoNASCAR's championship lead. As it stands, it will be Liam Hazeman on 373 points and AutoNASCAR on 376. So it will be 3 points between NASCAR and Hazeman going into the title decider. They have both increased their championship lead over the likes of Dubek, Delso, and indeed Vladimiros Tsiotsis. So I think it will more than likely be a 2-horse race in tomorrow's decider. The question is, can Liam Hazeman repeat this feat of a race win, or can he outscore AutoNASCAR enough to secure a championship? Certainly, it's possible. We don't know if it's probable just yet, but the form and the momentum is firmly with Liam Hazeman at this point in the season. After a brilliant weekend at Zolder, he is now atop the podium on race 1 at Grobnik, Croatia. His father Twan, his elder brother Loris, both here supporting Liam Hazeman, and Liam is soaking in the adulation along with his Hendrix Motorsport team right now, and justifiably so, because that was one of the best races we've seen from him all year, in amongst the pressure, in amongst the drama that is inherently part of a championship decider. This young man in his first season of car racing held his nerve, held his cool, and has once again taken a race victory. Had to get around Tsiotsis in the early stages in order to make this victory possible, but that is exactly what he did at turn 3, no less, and he's held the lead ever since then. He now, though, will get arguably the best prize of all. In just a few minutes, he'll get the chance to speak to my good colleague Andre Viegold, who is just trying to compose the young Dutchman right now, and we'll cut down to him in just a few moments. But great to see Hazeman so happy with this result. He knows the gravity of the situation. He knows how significant today is proving to be for his EuroNASCAR 2 championship hopes. And we just wait to cut down there to the scene of the adulation and jubilation for Hendrix Motorsport and Liam Hazeman.
Oh, yeah.
And now we can go down to Liam Hazeman. So, Andre, take it away, our race winner.
What an amazing race. Liam Hazelmans, it's now 3 points.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, you know, from where we came in the beginning of the season, thanks to all my team, you know, like, I mean, the car was just perfect. And yeah, no, exactly, it's closer than ever. I mean, the whole season. And yeah, so that's the first step. Now we try to do the second step tomorrow.
Provisional. Starting order for tomorrow. I checked the live timing. It's CEST, NASCAR.
Yeah, well, we try to do the same as today. I think it will be a bit more difficult because now I think he expects it. So, but yeah, no, definitely super happy. I mean, this is exactly what we needed, you know, to keep the championship alive. So yeah, super happy.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Well.
Yes, super. Thanks. Yes. Oh, damn it.
There we go.
Thanks,
a
man.
jubilant Liam Hazelmans, a driver who has shown so much potential and so much class in this first season in EuroNASCAR. It's one of those things where you see someone do this at a level this high in their first year and you go, wow, okay, where's this going to go? What is the ceiling on this young man's career? There's his brother Loris embracing him. Loris, still the reigning EuroNASCAR Pro Champion from last year. Of course, he's been on an excursion to the NASCAR Cup Series in 2022. And I know we're expecting him to do great things as well in 2023. I think he also got some congratulations there from Anthony Kumpen as well. And in general, I think a lot of people in the paddock, particularly those of Dutch and Belgian excursion, are more than happy to see the young man doing quite so well. However, Andre, over to you again.
Winner for drivers aged 40 and more. You look a little bit exhausted, to be honest.
Yeah, it was extremely hot in the car. That's, I don't know, maybe 50, 55 degrees. It was unbelievable. Even hotter than Italy, I think. But and the fight I had with Martin was phenomenal. He was defending so much. He was a bit too slow. So I tried everything to pass him on his bumper for the whole race. A couple of times next to him, but I couldn't. He was defending well. I couldn't pass him. So, but happy to the champions, you say, yeah?
Oh, no. You won the Legend Trophy race today, so we have to calculate a little bit.
Yeah, I believe I am, but no, it's nice. It is a nice track and good ambiance. So ready for beer now.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you.
There you go. Melvin de Groot is a man with his priorities in check, don't you think? He's after a beer after a long day's racing. I'm sure that resonates with a great many people. He takes the Legend Trophy win. And here's a replay of that start. Now, into turn one, it looked as though Hazelmans had the lead. Siortis, though, later on the brakes, had the apex into turn two. What happened next, then, between the two of them? Well, Liam Hazelmans just about held on around the outside, and he took the lead. And then AutoNASCAR, towards the end of lap one, at Zagreb Bend, tried to go around the outside, couldn't quite do it. And that would commence a battle that would go all race long between NASCAR and Siortis behind. And we had some scrapping further back. This is the 46 car of Miguel Gomez in a fight. But it was all eyes to the front, with Liam Hazelmans slowly building an advantage over AutoNASCAR. NASCAR with a rearview mirror full of Vladimir Siortis. A tag between Capelli and Pontonen. Further back in the pack, this was in the battle, I believe, for 6th place at the time. Pontonen would ultimately finish 6th ahead of Claudio Remeggio Capelli in 7th position. And this was a very physical scrap in the mid stages of this race. A good move up the inside for Pontonen going into the Zagreb Bend. But Capelli just tried to hold on around the outside. However, the 23 car would find its way through as Ulysse Delso found his way onto the grass and the dirt. And there you see the final move from Pontonen. Maltrek tried to get past Capelli. He couldn't quite do it. As we approached the traffic in the final few laps, the battle seemed to only intensify between NASCAR and Siortis. Hazelmans would eventually build a gap of over 3 seconds as these two continued to scrap. And Siortis, particularly through turns 5 and 8, just looked like he had so much more apex speed, so much more ability to get to the apex of the corner, which AutoNASCAR was sorely lacking. And Siortis, time and time again, looked like he would take advantage. However, Alberto NASCAR, by hook, by crook, one way or another, just held on to second place and just held on to a 3-point lead in the championship over Liam Hazeman's. It was side by side going into the final lap as they approached turn 15 and 16, Zagreb Bend, but it wasn't quite to be for Siortzis. He dove to the inside. He avoided, to his credit, tagging the quarter panel of Alberto NASCAR, and NASCAR held on to second place and now has the slenderest 3-point margin in the championship. That 3-point margin means that if Hazeman's wins, or if Hazeman's finishes 2 places ahead of NASCAR, no matter where they finish, the two of them, in theory, would see the championship positions change in favour of Hazeman's, because it's 80 points for a win, 70 points for second place, and then it goes down in increments of 2 from there. So if, for example, Hazeman's was to finish 3rd and NASCAR was to finish 5th in tomorrow's closing race of the EuroNASCAR 2 season, then you would see things reverse, and it would be Hazeman's that would take the championship by a single point. That's all to come, though. For now, we focus on the podium celebrations. We focus on what has been another stellar day for Liam Hazeman's as he continues to develop as a racing car driver. Stepped into a racing car in a competitive environment for the first time at the Valencia round, the first round of the season back in May. He got his first win in EuroNASCAR 2 on his second weekend at the Brands Hatch Indy circuit. That was also his debut weekend in EuroNASCAR Pro, replacing Tobias Downhauer. And ever since then, in both categories, he has looked very strong. But of course, here in EuroNASCAR 2, he has been fighting for the championship, and he has been matching or surpassing Alberto NASCAR at times. It's still NASCAR, though, in the lead of this championship. It's still NASCAR who goes in with more fingers on the championship. Neither of them have a hand on the title right now. It's too close to call. But NASCAR still just about with the advantage going into the season deciding race, and I'm so excited to see what happens in EuroNASCAR 2 in the season decider tomorrow. Both competitors are great people to talk to. They're both quite relaxed off the circuit. However, once the visors go down and the red mist descends, they are as competitive as anyone you've ever seen at the wheel of a stock car. I expect that we will see the podium presentation shortly. Of course, there is the overall classification, the junior classification, the Legends and the Lady Trophy as well. Well, just taking a breather and unwinding a little bit from what has been a spectacular motor race here at the Automotodrom Grobnik. We got a great illustration of why this circuit is so good for EuroNASCAR. Yes, overtaking isn't as easy here as it is at, say, the chicane-laden Zolder circuit or something like that, but every single pass is well-earned and well-deserved, and with the cars being so well suited to the actual characteristics of the circuit, the way the corners are built and so on, it makes for a compelling recipe. Vladimiros Siortzis, Cypriot cape upon his person, is 3rd place there. I think that's the Cypriot flag that he's got around him. Alberto NASCAR taking 2nd, and Liam Hazeman's will join them on the top step of the podium in just a few moments' time. Here he comes. A big handshake to both of his competitors, and good to see a smile and a laugh between NASCAR and Hazeman. Yes, they're fighting for a championship. Yes, they're fighting for the biggest achievements of their racing careers so far, but there's still healthy respect and admiration between the two of them, which is great to see. Siortzis being presented the 3rd place trophy, 2nd place trophy to Alberto NASCAR. And Liam Hazeman's is going to get the opportunity to once again lift the winner's trophy high above his head. If he does it again tomorrow, he will be our 2022 EuroNASCAR 2 champion. Let's see if we have a mirror image of this in about 18 hours' time when we go racing in EuroNASCAR 2 for the final time. National anthem. There we go, Liam Hazeman's then applauding his Hendricks Motorsport team. The champagne may get a little bit of a spray here. Yes, it will. Alberto Nasca, if he can't win against Hazeman's on the track today, is at least going to get him a bit soggy before the end of the day. And Vladimir Osiort is a bit late to get the cork out of the bottle, and he fancies a swig himself. But joining in on the festivities too. All three of them justified in their celebrations for sure. All three drivers put in a stellar motor race, and I'm very excited to see what Sunday brings. They pose for pictures then. First of 4 podiums that we will be seeing before we wrap up our broadcast today. Next up, we expect to see the Legend Trophy with Roberto Benedetti third, behind Claudio Capelli and Melvin de Groot. So Melvin with another win, one step closer to the championship within the Legends class. We'll have to check overnight whether he's the Legend Trophy champion already. He seemed to think so. I'm not quite sure the math works in his favour yet. Certainly he's got a beyond comfortable margin. And of course his closest competition in the form of Yevgen Sokolovsky is not here. He's representing the Ukraine flag in the FIA Motorsport Games this weekend. And while it's a shame he couldn't fight for that title, it's great to hear that he is racing and flying the Ukrainian flag. I know he's getting a lot of support for that over at Paul Ricard. Roberto Benedetti in third place, Claudio Capelli in second, and Melvin de Groot to the top step then in the Legend Trophy class. Trophies being presented as we speak. And here comes the big trophy for Melvin de Groot, racing for Team Bleekemolen and bringing success to the Dutch team once again, as he has done consistently all year long. Both he and Mikael Bleekemolen have been strong this season. Melvin de Groot has got the picture posing down to a fine art. And off the podium they go. Next up, we will see the Rookie Trophy top 3. Of course, we saw Thomas Pontonen having a good scrap with Claudio Capelli. And that was not just for 6th overall, it was also for 3rd in the rookie standings, because while Claudio Remeggio Capelli is a well-tenured man with a magnificent beard, he is also a rookie in EuroNASCAR 2, technically speaking. So Pontonen just beat him to 3rd step on the podium, which is where he now is. Second place for AutoNASCAR. And once again to the top step of the podium. You might feel a little bit greedy at this point. Liam Hazeman's to the top once again. Not often that you get two rookies fighting for a championship in EuroNASCAR 2, but that's exactly what we've got this year. These two have proven to be stunning talents at the wheel of our 400 brake horsepower, 1200 kilo stock car machines. And there we see the trophy being presented once again. Liam Hazeman's once again with some more silverware to add to the Hazeman's trophy cabinet. Between Twan, Mike and Loris, I think they've got enough silverware. But Liam Hazeman's is very rapidly adding to the collection. We heard it earlier today that Loris firmly believes Liam is, it's not he can, he will win at the championship. However, that's going to come down to the results on Sunday, and no pressure to Liam Hazeman's with the firm and thorough backing of his championship winning brother. So then we now have the Lady Trophy category, and third place in the Lady Trophy, Ariana Casoli in the 64 car that she shares with Alexander Graf. I think that car just struggling for setup this weekend in general. It wasn't doing much in the hands of Alexander Graf, and Casoli was off the pace of some of her team competitors as well. I think I saw Liam Hazeman's walk towards the steps again. 2 trophies is enough, mate. This one belongs to Luli Del Castello. She takes the top step of the podium. And another great success for Luli Del Castello, who once again draws closer to championship glory within the Lady Trophy ranks. She has been very competitive this year, both in the overall and within the Lady Trophy classification. And it's been great to see that success, and I think a growing of her confidence behind the wheel across the year as well. She's looked quicker and quicker, more and more competitive, and more willing to protect those positions and attack for further positions up the order. Del Castello to the top step of the podium, along with her podium finishes. And that is our final podium of the day. As you can see, the sun is firmly setting at just coming up on 5:20 local time here in Croatia. And the sun isn't quite set on the championship yet in EuroNASCAR Pro or EuroNASCAR 2. There are 2 more races to tune into, both of which take place on the championship deciding Sunday. Can AutoNASCAR hold off Liam Hazeman's, and can Gianmarco Ercole try and fell the beast, fell one of the all-time greats of EuroNASCAR in the form of Alan Day? We will find out tomorrow in what will be an exciting pair of motor races. It's NASCAR and Day with a hand on their respective titles. Can they grasp it with both hands and lift the title tomorrow? Make sure you tune in to find out.